A major rejection has just occurred for Bitcoin, rejecting off the 50-day moving average, flipping that into resistance. So on today's show, we're going to assess if now is the time that you should really consider exiting the markets, or should you continue to hold tight and look to buy the dip. Make sure you smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. And then let's get started immediately with the show. And we can see over here, of course, a negative reaction across the board for the market on the hourly time frame. This is the Banter Bubbles top 100 coins, which are currently coming down. Let's have a very quick look at the daily. Also pretty red over there. The monthly red, the weekly still holding up those green gains. And then just out of curiosity, I want to quickly see what does the market look like measured against Bitcoin. How are the altcoins faring up on all the relevant different time frames? So let's look monthly down against Bitcoin, weekly mostly also up against Bitcoin, daily most of them in the top 100 are down against Bitcoin, showing that Bitcoin is still the better coin to be holding, at least at this point in the cycle, with that Bitcoin dominance trending up towards 60%. And the hourly is about half and half. So where are we at within the market? What has exactly taken place? And what should you do next? Well, if you look over here at this chart, we have on the top left the S&P 500. The top right is the NASDAQ. The bottom right is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And then, of course, we have Coinbase. Now, yesterday we outlined the possibility of price pushing up and coming into this very key level and rejecting. And we now are in that exact level, but the rejection has not yet taken place on the stock market, which means at the market open later on today, you best want to have your eyes on these charts and have a look at exactly what's happening. If you see a rejection taking place, there is a possibility of between a 5 and a 6% drawdown for the stock market coming into the next major levels of support. And then you have to ask yourself the question, what happens to Bitcoin? What happens to the crypto market based on this stock market rejection? Well, we'll assess that now in today's show. Smash the like button if you want those levels. But ultimately, in a nutshell, you can expect that Bitcoin and crypto moves at about a 2-to-3 ratio in accordance to whatever the stock market is doing. So if the stock market goes down 5%, Bitcoin probably will go down at least at the minimum 10%. Of course, this varies depending on each specific day, but give or take over time, it's about a 2-to-3 ratio. So these are the various levels. It's 5% down before you hit the next major support, which was the prior all-time high. And it just so happens to line up with that 200-day moving average, which is a high time frame, significant level where you would expect the stock market to bounce. For the NASDAQ on the top right-hand side, it's a little bit further down. It tends to move quicker than the S&P 500, and you'd be looking at about 6% downside before hitting the next major level of support. Dow Jones is just under 5%. And then I guess the question is, where does that put the Coinbase chart, which is currently coming into a major level over here, holding that parallel range level over here with pretty much a level of support and your level of resistance above. Now, if you start to gain acceptance below 210, then it means that Coinbase is probably also going to be going down. And then you have to look down towards that 150, 160 region for support. But we will address that when it's necessary, which is not really today. But high time frame, where does this put the stock market? Is it all over for the stock market? Was that the end of the left translated cycle? Remember, the left translated cycle theorists believe that prices are going to rally very aggressively in the short term over the pretty much next 6 to 8 weeks, and then the cycle's all over. I personally don't subscribe to that theory. I think it's more probable than not that it's a right translated cycle. I know Run believes it's a left translated cycle. I believe that we're going to go on for much longer, which means you have to have a longer period of consolidation and drawdown, right? But where does it put the stock market? Well, if you look at Seth Golden over here, who does really great analysis in terms of just looking at the pure stats, he says very rare for the SPX, so the stock markets, to gain 25% or more in a 5-month period. But when it does do that, then the forward returns are typically very bullish. So if you look over here, 3-month forward positivity possibility over there is 100%. Looking 6 months, if we're going to be positive on the stock market, it's about an 83% possibility. And 12 months from now, the stock market should be higher with 100% probability of that taking place. So there it is. There's your average returns over those time periods. You're looking at 3 months from now, the stock market should be about 6% up. 6 months from now, about 7% up. And if you look 12 months from now, based on the data that we have, you should be on average about 19% higher on the stock market. Remember, crypto moves about 2 to 3 times quicker, at least Bitcoin, which means that then Bitcoin 12 months from now should be at least 60% higher. So use that information at your own will. I like to look at the statistics and the data, which basically suggests that even if we were to break down from here and go much lower, it becomes a high time frame buy the dip opportunity and not a period where you want to be shaking out the market. And that might give us the much needed reset in the fear and greed index, which is currently still trending all the way up over here at 58. We haven't had a full flush towards the downside into the 20 zone for quite a long period of time. So you can see also, if you look at just the simple closing price action for Bitcoin on the top in the line chart, this is the period where all the fear and greed came to much lower levels, hit that trend line over there, bounce up, hit the trend line, bounce up, fear and greed reset. The question is, will we get a reset into this zone? So if I grab this over here, will we get a reset on the fear and greed, which will simultaneously allow for price to hit this steeper upsloping trend line, which currently would be around the $50,000 region? That is a possibility. It's in the realm of possibility. It's not my base case, but I am open to it taking place, which is why I said yesterday, have enough capital to deploy all the way down to about $48,000 is still fair game for buy the dip opportunity. So let's have a look over here. Funding is fully reset. We went from that ETF euphoria where funding rates were absolutely extreme froth to now negative funding in literally the space of just a couple of weeks. So this was where the ETF froth was pretty high. That was your funding rates. And look at that massive reset, even going into negative fundings. Now, negative funding in a bull run is a screaming buy opportunity. Of course, you don't release your entire clip in one go. You look to slowly allocate and DCA into those longer term positions. This is where you want to find your favorite altcoins, the things that you're looking to hold for the rest of the cycle, and you want to really establish those long-term buys. So there it is. That's a funding. You can see it also live price action over here, or live chart as it has reset. Now we have a major range over here. You can see the way that Bitcoin had ranged for 2021. That was the bull market range that was formed. We then went into the bear market, which you can consider a massive deviation, reclaimed into the range over there, and then it was straight up. Now, typically the way these ranges work is when you do get the deviation on one side, you move all the way up to the top side, and then you deviate once again. Now, this is another way that I'm viewing the market. I view it predominantly as a trend, because the trend is your friend until the end of that trend, and the trend rules all. Personally, for me, the trend is first above anything. But I also understand that markets can range. So that's always the tough thing, right? You have to identify, are you currently ranging or are you currently trending? Which one is it? Well, high time frame, we are still in a trend, but there is a possibility of viewing this as well as a range, at which point we may be deviating. So we'll zoom in a little bit closer, take a little bit of a closer look. At the end of the day, this is still a very parabolic move, right? You can see how strong this move has been towards the upside, with pretty much very little dips along the way. But we have to take our risk management very seriously. So view the orange line as your macro range high. And now we're going to zoom in, right? Let's just clear some of these levels off, and then I'll bring that back in a moment so it makes a bit more sense. Now, that's your macro range high. So that's really the level to get above. You can be a lot more safe on your bullish bias when price action is holding above this level, because you're holding above the macro range high, which is showing that you're testing that as support or flipping it into support and giving the possibility to continue that parabolic move. As soon as you start to gain acceptance below this level, it becomes a lot more of a risky environment to hold longs, because there is a possibility that as a range, you could revisit all the way back down into the mid-range level, which is currently situated at $48,000, which is why I said have enough capital to allocate still in the event that you break this level down and prices come into these lower regions. You can continue to deploy, at which point this would still be viewed as, on a very high time frame, a macro higher low. and then you can continue with the bull run. So that's what I'm looking at, right? I see in the comments there, Pan says still bullish. Yes, I guess it is on your, depends on your time horizon, it is still bullish. I'm going to show you how the low time frames tie in here. Bear in mind that pretty much where this price action is, you'll see on another chart where we rejected the 50-day moving average, which was trending up and then has now started to roll over. So this is showing a potential shift in what's going on in the market. While most of the people are still up only and very, very bullish, you have to accept the facts that the information is showing us that something very different could be taking place. So how exactly do you navigate it? It's always difficult to navigate the transitions within the market live when they start to happen, when of course it's been so easy to just buy and hold and things start to change. So the green lines over here will essentially denote the short time frame range. So we'll make that nice and big. There you go. I mean, I think that's pretty crystal clear. You can see over here, price moved up, rejected, came back down, support, bounced, rejected, bounced, and pretty much this is around the mid-range, which also lines up with the 50-day moving average where we've now rejected. So the problem comes in if you start to gain acceptance below this level, then you can say with a high degree of probability, you're probably going to go all the way back down into the broader macro mid-range. Now, if we throw in a couple of other key levels, which I have over here, you can mark them off on your charts if you want. I'll do it for you. Let's have a very quick look first at the, there we go. We'll look at the weekly levels, or let's look at the monthly levels first. The previous month's high and low. You can see also just so happens to line up more or less with your current short-term range levels. There's your previous month's high, there's your previous month's low. Now let's put on the previous week as well, the previous week's high and low, and you'll see the significance of this range. There you go. Now here's your previous week's high and low. Your previous week's low lines up pretty much with the hand drawn over here range low, which also lines up with the previous month's low. So this becomes a super significant level. $59,000 is really the level to hold. You do not want to see acceptance gain below that level, at which point you're probably going to come down. Yes, you'll bounce, but then the question is, do you reject once again from that level? If you do reject, this could change the entire outlook for the bull market. So this is what we're watching, right? At the end of the day, what do you do when you come into a major level? If it's support, you buy it, right? If you come into a major level of support, that is theoretically a buy. That's a buy. If you come down here again and you break back above, that becomes a buy for the top side. But this is the part where bulls will need to strike very, very soon. Failure for them to strike back and gain enough momentum to get price back to the top side and hopefully break out would mean that this ranging market will ultimately, market participants will lose interest, and that's where you go in for those deeper corrections. So now that we have the range levels all cleared up, let's go through the rest of what we're looking at. Oh, speaking of which, before we go into everything, guys, 6 days and 6 hours remaining to sign up to Whale School. When you do sign up, use specifically the link in the description below. There's a lot of scam sites out there. Please be careful when you do sign up. Go into the YouTube link in the description below, or say Whale Trading School. It's valued at $3,000. You guys get it for free because of the exchange partners, which are all listed below. These amazing partners over here are sponsoring you to go through the course. So use the link below. You have 6 days left to join. Now, this is the overall trend, right? Your low time frame moving average, which is your 50-day moving average. I've drawn the range levels over here as well. You can see the clear rejection. Price had lost that 50-day moving average, pushed up into what is also the mid-range level over here. You can see that, right? The mid-range level over here, rejected from that, rejected from the 50, and now we are currently on our way down. You can see at $48,000, which happens to line up, right? Let's go back onto this chart. It just so happens to line up with the high time frame mid-range level, the white line over here. Also so happens to line up with your 200-day moving average, which is going to be a very, very significant level. That will be a very strong buying opportunity. Even if the market cycle hypothetically were to end, this would be a very, very strong buying opportunity. Like I teach in Whale School, when you have not tested a strong area of support for a very long period of time, which you haven't, the last time you tested this was on the 18th of October, it almost always, unless it was a rug, right? Unless it's a illiquid coin and it's a rug, anything with enough liquidity always, every single time, will elicit an enormous bounce, which means I will be buying this aggressively if price were to come into that level, especially because we have confluence of the mid-range over here on the weekly time frame. Cool. Now that we have that out the way, expect that this rejection with bulls failing to buy price up very quickly and reclaim this will inevitably in the next couple of weeks. Look at that. That would line up with May, right? Sell in May and go away. That's the saying, right? All the hedge fund managers around the world tend to go on holiday in the US around their summer break in May. So be aware of that. That is in the realm of possibility. We want to look at the market from both sides, not the up only side. You also have your 21 exponential moving average, which is currently starting to flatten out. We still said bullish above that line over there at 59K, and we start to become bearish below that line. For now, we're still above that line, right? So that changes slowly. Moving on, you can also see risk is shifting aggressively towards the downside now because of this rejection. It was our pink box that we highlighted. We said that was the level for bulls to reclaim. They didn't do it. We rejected from that level. You now have a confirmed cross where it's proving that there's a possibility of going into a downtrend over here because price is below the 9 and the 18 exponential moving average. We're below the pivot level. We're below the 200 EMA on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame. Remember, I also add significance to the sequence of which these different moving averages are positioned, right? What do I mean by that? Well, for example, let's just open up some space over here. If in an uptrend, price is over here and it's above a short moving average, which is above a long moving average, which is above a longer and a longer and a longer, that creates an incredibly bullish scenario. The same is true to the downside, right? So again, looking back at the price action over here, if you have price now below the 9 and the 18, so the 18 is at the top, the 9 EMA is at the bottom, and now you start to get these EMAs. So there you go, the 200 EMA on the 1 hour starts to trend below that, and the 200 EMA on the 4 hour trends below that. Now you have the short above the medium, above the higher, above the highest time frame. That creates those strong trending moves, which you don't want to fade, right? And that means the probability is high that you're going to break this. You can see the RSI here as well. Attempted to break out. We did get a close above, with the moving average above that level. So bulls, again, all I'm saying, bulls need to strike very, very soon to defend this. Otherwise, there's risk of going lower. At the moment, this is a break, right? It's broken above this downsloping trend line for the RSI, and we're looking for bulls to strike, defend this level, and get above the mid-range ASAP. 67,500 remains the level to clear. Nothing has changed. This is the level to clear. Cool. Moving on. There's your levels. You'll see there's tight liquidity. If you look at the order books and what's going on, the traders are trading this as a very tight range because you have liquidation levels situated in the yellow zones over here at $63,000, and then you have another one at the mid-range over here at 67,500. So, of course, hopefully for the bull's sake, you might see something like this. Grab that liquidity, get sent to the top, defend that level, and then we can start to look at the bullish bias again. You do have on the 4 hour time frame your stochastic RSI, which is currently attempting to reset from the bottom there and starting to turn up. So watch for something like this. There is a possibility because there's those liquidity levels. You also have the funding that's gone negative on the low time frame, and you know that in the bull runs, this typically marks the major bottoms, right? When it's in a ranging market and it goes extremely positive, this is your distribution phase. When it goes extremely negative, like we had over here, that is your bottoming process. So there is hope in the very short term that bulls will strike today. Spot is trending down, leverage is trending down, open interest is reset. So that's all in alignment. Renko on most of these coins that we've been viewing, we have Bitcoin, Casper, Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, Injective, Matic, and Dogecoin. All of it is down, right? All of it is down. And consequently, that's why the market looks like it does. So I wanted to make today's show pretty quick. I'm not ending off here yet. We'll go through a few more things, but I don't want to have shows that are too long. I'm going to try wrap all of this up in the next 10 minutes, guys, because I understand when the market gets boring, no point in keeping you here for years. All right. quick mention over here, the GUMMY airdrop is still happening. I've seen guys have opened up literally like 30 different tabs and things like that to get this airdrop. Bear in mind, probably the best way to get this coin is honestly going to be to buy it, right? You can see here is the GUMMY token, which is currently breaking below the top side of the range. It might go into a deeper correction. Let's have a look. I wasn't planning on going onto this right now, but I think we may as well have a look at it since I'm here. Let's see the 4-hour chart. There it is. Okay, I always call a spade a spade. Let's be honest. Over here, this is looking like it's starting to roll over, which is typical, right? If someone got a lot of free money, they are, of course, going to take profits. Couldn't hold it up over here. Might come down, set in a higher low. That would be the opportunity. Okay, if you want to participate in this, the best way to get involved would be to buy it based on that next dip. But you can airdrop it. The links are in the description below as well for that. If you go through here, let's just quickly see for the GUMMY airdrop. Okay, we don't have it in today, but you can go on yesterday's show. It is in the link over there. If you sign up to the different exchanges, they'll airdrop it to you as well. All right, let's go into Bitcoin dominance. Here's Bitcoin dominance, and then I'll show you where I think the altcoins are at within the cycle. It lines up with this whole situation around sell in May and go away. Here's Bitcoin dominance, still more bullish than bearish, right? The edge is still in the bull's court over here until such time as we break below 52.22% on the weekly. Okay, Rec Capital, great tweet over here. Altcoins have sold off after the halving. The hype from the Q1 hype cycle has not yet completely died down. There's still some time before altcoins are able to find their bottom, and they'll start bottoming in early summer, he says. So if you use a sine wave, which you can do, by the way, you can just go to the sine waves option on your trading view, and you can overlay these over charts. But ultimately what this shows is, you move through these different cycles, and this would suggest that probably sometime in May would be where the altcoin hype cycle comes back to the bottom, and then we can start to look for the next move up. So this is how you can make a lot of money. Use the sine waves to time it. Is all hope dead when it comes to altcoins based on the pullback? Of course not, right? If you look at total 3, this is what previously happened within the last bull run, right? Once you started to break above those very key levels, at that point it was $87 billion market cap. You had the consolidation, and that led to the next expansive phase. The only way this plays out is if it is a left translated cycle. Remember, I believe it's a right translated cycle, but of course, I'm a trader and I can view things from both ways, which means that if I'm wrong, I'll very quickly adapt, right? It's easy. I'm not here to be a hero or to be arrogant about my analysis. If we are in a left translated cycle, I will adapt accordingly. So the only way this plays out as if it is a left translated cycle. We now broke above on total 3, $439 billion, which was the equivalent of the last time breaking above 87. And at the end of the day, this is still an uptrend, right? There's our chart. As soon as we break above 820, we know we have confirmation of that breakout, and then we're going to be looking for expansion. Remember, based off of parallel channels or horizontal channels, you can work out measured moves. Remember, I teach all of this as well in Whale School. So if you want to learn more about that, the link is below. This would be the measured move, right? This is your horizontal breakout. So where would this take total 3 to? So let's quickly put in a price label over there. You'd be looking at a breakout. Let's grab that again. You'll be looking for a breakout up to about 1.25 trillion. Now, I'm not saying that would be the end of the cycle. That would take out the highs. You probably go on further from there, but based on the measured move, that would be your breakout. As soon as you can hold above 820, you know that altcoins are probably going to take the next leg up, which would be looking at about another 50% increase in the market cap. And if you're choosing the strong altcoins, they're going to run. I'm still long on Solana over here, right? So I haven't faded Solana yet. I'm still long. But if we do start to break below my entry zone over here, I will have to consider cutting, because at that point, you have a major deviation back into the range, at which point I would say that Bitcoin likely has also deviated back into its range. So very clear. This is one of the most perfect deviation setups. If you see it, you have a strong upsloping trend line that's held for a long period of time. You have your prior range over here, and you'd be viewing this as an absolutely enormous deviation into that range. So a break of this trend line would be your first warning sign. I'd probably look to sell the next bounce over there, get out of my Solana, because at that point you could very well go down to $80. Again, lining up where? In May, right? In May. So let's continue. Don't get screwed over by VC meme coins within the cycle. I think it's a really great opportunity to have a look at something like this. So let's just quickly get that in the right position. There we go. Better, that's better. Okay, cool. So if you have a look at this, this is an example of scams. He says scam VC, cabal corporation, predatory meme coins versus real organic meme coins. You can look at this, right? Because we know meme coins are hot. A lot of you are going to be looking to buy the dip on it if there is a deeper dip. Valuations. Was there immediately a massive valuation of that coin? By massive, we mean, you know, was it immediately worth billions in terms of its market cap? If so, that's a little bit of a red flag. You can kind of create a category of how many reds you have versus greens, because, of course, some of the good coins might still have one or two red things. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have it. Okay. Was it cheap sideways, early period with gradual growth? Listings, did they get very fast listings on every single centralized exchange, or was it gradual, taking months and months to get onto those exchanges? Memetics, trash memes that make no sense, often zero memes, right? It's just complete junk rubbish. Or is it hilarious? When you looked at it the first time, did you laugh? Is there past history, right? Like 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗍, for example, anything that had a cartoon in the past, did it have a previous history? Origins, did it come out of nowhere overnight and launch at billions of dollars? Probably a red flag. Was it developed organically? Not too many major influencers or KOLs that are involved, right? It's community driven. Very, very important. Marketing content, cringe, tacky, forced paid versus tasteful, community made, relevant, and very, very unique, right? Volume, algorithmically painted. Very, very important. If a chart in the beginning, this is one way you can view it. If you go to a meme coin and you view the chart, the levels are respected very, very well. They're probably paying for an algorithm to paint the chart. The way this works is, for example, if you keep coming down to your 618 fib retracement level, the golden pocket, and every single dip hits that level and bounces, I mean, you can still trade it and you can take advantage of it. That means it's probably somebody that's paying for a market maker to algorithmically paint the chart so it looks like a perfect chart, and then it brings the retail in at the last minute, which is you and me, right? I'm also retail. I don't run an institutional fund, and then they rug you. Okay, or does it have organic volume? Is it normal? VC presence, obvious VC presence involvement, they got it way low. They're going to dump on you. Distribution, shitty concentrated ownership distribution, or is there wide distribution? Are there a lot of holders, right? I see you guys are spamming with BlackRock. Yes, BlackRock had a big distribution over there. Pushes, okay, pushed by sketchy KOLs and scammers, or is it pushed by organic community members? If you heard it first from a KOL, sometimes that can be a red flag, right? Especially if it's simultaneous with all the different KOLs across the board. It's possible that one KOL could have found something that's a great opportunity, brings it to your attention, and you find out about it. But if simultaneously on the same day, all the KOLs on X, Twitter, YouTube, whatever platform you're on, are simultaneously mentioning this brand new amazing coin, probably they're going to dump on you, right? Okay, liquidity. Giant liquidity out of nowhere, or was it gradual liquidity thickening over time that shows natural growth, right? Natural network effect over there. Okay, that's about it. Okay, cultiness. Let's go into the last one. Cultiness. No loyalty, no raids, paper hands, and mercenary versus stubborn, autist, strong evangelism, and religious zeal. Okay, the coins that he listed over here in the bottom, he said that the negative ones, BOEM, Manaki, Meme, and Mew. And then on the organic side, Pepe, Popcat, Mishi, and Monk. So interesting. Very, very interesting. I thought that was interesting. Anyways, let's continue. Before we go into some of your altcoin requests, because I'll take a couple of them, quick shout out and mention to MintSwap. If you look over here on the bottom, when you're trading on Uniswap, which is probably the most traded DEX out there for swaps, you can see the ETH price, right? USDT to ETH currently $3,170 is what they're giving you. And if you look over here, $3,180, you're getting about 70% reduction on fees using MintSwap. If you do want to take trades and you're swapping from USDT to ETH, use the link in the description below. Go and check it out. And then let's get into it, right? Let's get into some of the altcoins. Let's quickly look at TON. How's TON doing? So this is a key level for TON. If you are looking for price to bounce, it needs to bounce from here. I must be honest with you, it doesn't look at the rate that it's moving now that it's going to bounce from here, which is a great thing, right? It means that you're going to get an opportunity to probably get this lower. So watch for the full distribution from this horizontal level, which is also the parallel channel rising towards the upside. You've already broken the sharp upsloping trend line down. Here it is, right? You can see you've broken that down, showing a shift in momentum. Watch as prices come down, right? Look for major support. Probably your next level is going to be around 420. I'm going to be picking some of this up for the long term. Okay, what else do we have? Let's see 𝗓, because 𝗓 is performing a little bit better than the rest of the market. This is the problem, right? With a lot of these coins, you see you broke the upsloping trend line. That was your first warning sign. Failure to get back above 82 cents was a problem. Rejected from there, started to come down, created a new swing low. And ultimately, I think that this probably will still go lower. I'm being honest, probably still goes lower. Let's see over here, lower lows and lower highs. We looked at this yesterday. If you do get rejected from this level, which currently looks like a possibility on the daily time frame, expect another move on near all the way down to $5, right? Okay, Atom. How's Atom doing? Okay, we rejected from the levels that we're looking at. We've moved down into the downsloping channel towards the downside. Honestly, I would just wait for $6 for the next possible zone to enter. SUI. Okay, how's SUI doing? Okay, couldn't get back into the yellow zone, back tested the prior range high, which it did break out of, but now has rejected that, testing it as resistance. New swing low over there. This one is probably going back down, again, level to level, right? So you can mark off the mid-range. The mid-range is one area of interest. It already hit that level once. If it comes down here, check if it's going to bounce again. Give it an opportunity at $1. Failure to bounce off of this means you're probably coming all the way back down here to 63 cents. All right, what else do we have? While I wait, I'm going to look in the comments. I can see your comments. I see the big fish says bear Kyle's back. Not yet. Look, I don't want to fade the high time frame trend, which is still up, but there's definitely a transition happening in the market going into a more paused phase, and you have to be real, right? Look, this is how I make money, guys. I made quite substantial gains over the last couple of years by not fading the trend. I will let you know when my system says go short. It hasn't said go short yet. It said we're transitioning from a strong trending market into now a slow trending market and moving into a range, which, remember, the market moves through phases. So let's quickly look at this. The market moves through phases, right? So it moves through trends. That can be an uptrend or downtrend. When that trend ends, it then moves into a range, which can also be viewed as now a Wyckoff distribution. And then it goes into a new trend, right? And then a new range. And then so the trends continue, right? Trends and ranges, right? So you just move through those different phases. There you go. So up, sets in a top, comes down, pullbacks, sets in a bottom, reaccumulation, moves up. That's a market cycle. You want to move in alignment with that market cycle. I would love to teach you guys more about this. Look at Whale School, right? I don't often have time within the live shows to go into in-depth analysis. It's completely free, guys. Most of you have done it. For the last few of you that haven't, sign up below. Use the link in the description below. Everything is over here. There you go, Whale School. Unlock all your potential by joining Whale School over there. There is limited supply, right? Limited amount of people that can come in. The systems can't handle over a few thousand, so be quick. And then also, if you want to join Whale Room, there's also a link in the description below if you want to take your trading to the next level. Of course, this is where we're doing a lot of live sessions. I'll see you guys. I know I was in Dubai last week. I'll see the rest of you on the live session today. We start with the live sessions again. So make sure you're there, 6 o'clock, right? 6 o'clock SAST time. And I think, guys, let's leave it over there. I don't want to go too long. That's about it from me. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in Whale Room later today, and then the rest of you tomorrow on YouTube. Have a lovely day, and cheers for now.